Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Friday Teacher Connect Zooming with Zoom polls. I am Samantha, one of the DIF team members of Digital Teaching and Learning, and I want to make sure that I help guide you on this Zoom polls journey. All right. I want you to keep in mind that if you are watching us on our live YouTube premiere, I will be in the comments so that way, if you have any questions, I want to help clear that up for you. All right. So, once again, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you guys for joining us. A couple of things I want to remind you of. If you are a teacher, you will not see the Zoom polls icon inside of your Zoom instance. You will not see the Zoom polls icon yet. All right, it is coming. But if you are a district employee and you have one of those pro accounts, all right, coordinators, principals, assistant superintendents, directors, all right, any central office staff who have Zoom pro accounts, you guys will see the Zoom polls um, icon inside of your instance. So teachers, be on the lookout. We will let you know when that happens. All right. So instead of starting with what is a poll, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. And we're going to start and we're going to try it first with the sample poll. The question will appear on your screen. Have you ever participated in a Zoom poll before as a host or Zoom attendee who is being polled? Okay. So I'm going to launch that poll for you. So right here, I'm going to give you this second view. I'm going to click on poll. And what's going to happen is a list of my polls that are already preloaded are going to come up and pop up in this screen. Let me move my remote out of the way. And so the reason why you are seeing it here is because you cannot see it. Zoom will not record the poll for you. So keep in mind, if you ever want to play back a Zoom recording, it will not record it for you. But here is another device that I am using to make sure that you guys so I can capture this for you. So here is the poll. I'm going to click on launch poll, and it is going to pop up on my student screen, and it is going to tell me, it's going to give me feedback of what my students are saying, all right, in response to this poll. So I can see the answers are coming in. All right. So I have everybody else 100% has participated. So let's take a look at what we see right now with this Zoom poll. All right. It tells me in the right hand corner, I have elapsed time so I can know how long this poll has been up. All right. So I see that over there in the right hand corner. Okay. So from my view as the host, I can see how many people have participated. I see that there are 4 participants, including myself, in the room, and 3 of them, 100% of my class or my attendees, have voted. So I see that. Okay. Now, from my view, I saw the responses coming in. I see the no's. I see the I'm not sure. I can see the elapsed time, so I can get a sense of how many people have participated out of the amount of attendees in my room. All right. So you can see who is actively at their screen in order to participate in this poll. So this is a way to keep your students or your attendees engaged, to know if they're engaged or if they're following along with you. If you are curious to how long this takes, if you notice, I've just been talking, but before it hit a minute, we already had our responses. Okay. So what I can do now, I'm going to move my remote out of the way. I'm going to click on end poll, and this is going to end it, and then it's going to ask me, do I want to share my results? So I'm going to click on share results. All right, so I clicked on share results, and on my student screen, let me show you what that looks like. We see what it looks like for the results to be shared. All right, I see that 67% is saying no, and 33% is saying I'm not sure. All right, so that's what it looks like on my student screen. What I can do now is click on stop sharing. And once you have seen the results, you can decide to stop sharing whenever you want to. All right, and so this gives you a sense of how You might use a poll if you have it already prepared. So once again, that was a poll that was already in um, my list of polls, but I'll show you how to do that in a few seconds. So let's talk about when to use Zoom polls. Okay. I want to assess prior knowledge. And that's exactly what I just did here. Okay. In the beginning of this recording, I started off, we know what a poll is. We've been polled, we've been to the polls. All right. We participated in polls. Okay. So I wanted to give a sense if the room already knew about polling. If I saw the majority of you already knew about polls, maybe I wouldn't spend as much time on the topic. Okay. But knowing that more than half of the room doesn't know about polls or they're unsure, it makes me consider the fact that we can talk through this just a little bit more and really spend some time on this topic. You can use polls to pose a question or a problem to be solved. So, say for instance, you're teaching a lesson or a main idea, and you want to pose a question to your students that has a true, right or wrong answer, or even a multiple choice question. You can pose that to the class and see if the students are following along with you and check understanding before moving on. Make sure your students are with you or arriving at the correct answer before you're moving on. This is a good way to do that, okay? So that way I know if I ask them a question, ahead of time, I'll know how much time I need to spend or if I need to correct something before I move on. All right. You can, number three, you can use Zoom polls to ask a more informal question in order to open up an opportunity for feedback from Zoom attendees or students. All right. Maybe you want to know how students are feeling or if they like the lesson so far. All right. So at the end of the session, you can put out a poll. The feedback could be anonymous, and during the session, that helps attendees be more apt to share honest and instant feedback. So sometimes I may not want to share because, it has my name up there. All right. So on the back end, if it's something that you need to know, there are ways for you to change whether you want your poll to be anonymous or not. But in our big classes or our departmental PLC school meetings, there is a way to engage the room and you can feel like these big numbers are able to connect across the room and be a part of what is being shared. So these are different reasons or different ways when to use Zoom polls. Okay. All right, so I'm going to share my Zoom screen again. If you have one of those pro district Zoom Pros district accounts that I was talking about earlier, you're going to go and turn your polls on if it's not on. And if you don't see the icon, and you're going to go to zoom.us inside of the settings, and you're going to go over here to in meeting basic, and you're going to scroll all the way down until you see polls, and you're going to turn it on. And here is the little toggle. It says allow hosts to use polls in meetings. Hosts can add polls before or during a meeting. All right. And so that's what that is for. You're going to make sure you turn it on. So if you wanted to add a poll and a meeting before a meeting takes place, you're going to still come in here to Zoom polls, zoom.us, excuse me, and you're going to go over here to meetings on this side menu, and it's going to open up. If you schedule a meeting, there's a way for you to do that. I'll show you that in a few seconds. But we're going to click right here on my personal room, and right beside details, I'm going to click on poll. And I have polls that are already in here. Poll one was the Zoom participation poll that you did earlier. And here is the one, how are you feeling today? It gives me an opportunity to edit and delete. And it's going to kind of pull up like my list or my library of polls, all right, that I use for particular meetings. So the one about how you're feeling, that may be something you want to add, and it can stay there every day, okay? That's something you can ask your students when they first come in, or when the room is kind of quiet and cameras are off and you don't know what's going on. They could be working independently, right? But you might want to know, how are they feeling right now? Is the subject or content for them cloudy or clear? This is a way for you to leave this question in here, so it'll always be there with, no matter which class period or no matter which meeting you attend or host. All right, so here is the way you add a poll. So I'm gonna put right here, I'm gonna add a poll for the end of this session, and I'm going to ask you, how was today's session? All right, and that's the name of it. And I'm gonna copy that, and I'm gonna put it right here for my question as well. Uh-oh. How was today's session? All right. And then you have option to have single choice and multiple choice. All right. And I'm going to give it a great. I'm going to give it a great, but I need more support. And I'm going to put neutral. All right. And so these are my different responses and answer choices. There's that option for me to click anonymous or not. I'm going to click on save. All right. And so now it's in my list of polls. All right. Say for instance, during a class, you wanted to do a poll right on the fly. If you wanted to do a poll right then, you would click on polling. And of course, it's going to pull up your library of polls. There's the 3 polls that I already have, and I've shown you how to do that. All right. And you do this before, but if you wanted to do it instantly, you would click on this. And when you click on edit, it's going to open up your Zoom settings. Okay. And it's going to bring you back to the same thing. And you can do this while the meeting is going on. As you can see, I'm in a meeting right now with 4 participants. If I wanted to come up with a poll right then, or I forgot to add my poll, no worries. All I have to do is go to my poll icon. And once I click on edit, or it might be add question if it's your first time ever doing it, it's going to give you a list of polls and it takes you back to that and you can add your poll. Also, if you schedule a meeting, for those of you who schedule meetings, you're going to go in here, you're going to schedule a meeting. So I'm going to call it meeting test. And it's going to happen. Let's do one at 2:30 today. It's going to last, let's say 0 hours, and it's going to last for 15 minutes. It's not a reoccurring meeting. Okay. All this good stuff. All right. And so I'm going to click on save. All right. And so once my meeting is saved, okay, I'm going to go back over here to my meetings. I'm going to actually click on this. And down here at the bottom, there's my list of polls. All right. So once again, for my scheduled meetings, for those of you who like to schedule meetings, I'm going to go over here to meetings. And then there's my meeting that's scheduled. I'm going to actually click on the meeting, scroll to the bottom, and here are my options. You have created 3 polls. Which ones, do I want to put in here? Do I want to edit, or do I want to add a new one? Okay. So that is your way to add a poll to a scheduled meeting. All right, so let's head back over here to the last part of our session. These are some things to think about, okay? Only the host can make polls during the meeting. So I want you to keep that in mind. Only the host. I know the co-host has some capabilities, but the host is the only one that is able to make polls during the meeting. Also, the visual of the polls is not included in the recording. So if you want to send a recording back to a student or attendee who missed, they will not be able to see the polls unless you edit some type of device or use Loom to screen capture. All right. So you will not be able, Zoom does not include the poll in the recording. And then the next thing I want you to understand, and this is something to think about, is notice I described verbally what the responses were. So that way, if anybody is attending on by phone, any of my attendees are by phone, I can make sure that I let them know what's going on. I'm describing verbally what the responses were, what the questions were, what was happening. So if somebody's joining by phone, that way they can hear, and you still don't know if your polls are going out there unless you have a student or attendee that you're asking, hey guys, can you see my polls? If you want to avoid that, still explain what is going on. So that way you can still keep your attendees engaged within this meeting. I hope you guys have gotten something out of this. Thank you for joining our Friday Teacher Connect. You can contact us anytime and reach out to us. Email us at dtif@hcs.k12nc.us, and we are open 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday, okay? Give us a call. Let us know how we can support you. Thank you all for tuning in. Let me know if you have any questions, and have a wonderful Friday.